Our next story begins with a question. Is Islam incompatible with European culture? This question is currently buzzing across European capitals, in particular, courtesy Giorgia Meloni. Recently, an old video of Meloni surfaced on social media. The video shows Meloni speaking in Italian about Islam, how the religion has a compatibility problem with Europe, and how certain practices in Islam may not have a place in Europe. Listen in.
Io penso che ci sia un problema di compatibilità tra la cultura islamica o certa interpretazione della cultura islamica e i diritti e i valori della nostra civiltà. A me non sfugge che la gran parte dei centri culturali islamici in Italia sono finanziati dall'Arabia Saudita, e l'Arabia Saudita è una nazione che a casa sua applica la Sharia, e Sharia significa lapidazione per l'adulterio, pena di morte per apostasia, pena di morte per omosessualità. Credo che queste questioni vadano poste, che non vuol dire generalizzare sull'Islam, vuol dire porre il problema che c'è in atto un processo di islamizzazione dell'Europa che è molto distante dai valori della nostra civiltà.
You heard that. There is a problem of compatibility between Islamic culture and the values of our civilization. So what made Meloni say this in the past? Well, some are blaming her brand of politics, the fact that she belongs to the Brothers of Italy party, a right-wing, ultra-conservative political party. Others say it's because of the overwhelming number of migrants who come to Europe and the kind of lifestyle they choose to live. In any case, the timing of this video going viral is interesting. Today is World Migration Day, a day meant to celebrate the role of migrants and the contribution that migration brings to development. The Italian government doesn't seem to agree. 24 hours back on Saturday, it organized an event which was also attended by UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. What was this event about? It was about jointly financing migrant repatriations in Africa. Look at these visuals. They show Sunak and Meloni attending the event in Rome. They were also joined by the Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama, who has also agreed to a controversial asylum pact. During the meeting, all three leaders said that they will further increase collaboration to combat human traffickers. Listen to these statements by Rishi Sunak.
The cost of accommodating these people will anger our citizens, who won't understand why their money should have to be spent on dealing with the consequences of this evil trade. It will destroy the public's faith, not just in us as politicians, but in our very systems of government. Why? Because it is fundamental. It is a fundamental tenet of sovereignty that it is us who should decide who comes to our countries and not criminal gangs. Making that deterrent credible will mean doing things differently, breaking from consensus. And both Giorgia and I are prepared to do that. Giorgia is planning to send asylum seekers to Albania to be processed, and I am passing legislation so that we can send illegal migrants to Rwanda. We are both determined to break the business model of these criminal gangs. If people know that they won't get to stay, then they won't come. And that must be our aim, that everyone knows that if they come to Italy or to Britain illegally, then they simply won't get to stay.
I want to stress on the lines that stayed with me. If people know that they won't get to stay, then they won't come. The question is, how many people is Europe going to stop? How many of this is it going to blacklist? Also, we understand that the challenge of Islamic extremism is real, but is there also a bias here? Is there a mindset problem in dealing with these migrants? These are questions the critics of this migration policy are asking. Here's what European lawmakers have to say in response. They say this is not about prejudice, but integration. They say you can't come to our land and set up a parallel society. They consider it a barrier that increases cultural separation. They believe that if these migrants are settling in their country, they must live like them and look like them, accept their dress code and their culture. There are also security concerns. They point at terror attacks that have been linked to migrants. Italy and the UK say they want to end this. They want to insulate migrants from radical strains of foreign influence, make their lifestyles more compatible with their culture, or not accept them into their land in the first place. But then again, did they do the same if these migrants came from Ukraine? Not really. On the contrary, they were more than welcoming of Ukrainians, because as some Western journalists said at the time, they looked like them and lived like them. My point is simple. Yes, migration is an issue in Europe. Yes, there are security risks involved. But there's also a strong bias with which migrants from Africa and West Asia are looked at. There can be no two ways about it. And as Europe discusses migration, thousands of miles away in the United States of America, Donald Trump is under fire too. Why? Because of his recent remarks on migration, on migrants. On Saturday at a campaign rally, Trump said that if he is re-elected, many people are going to leave the country, a remark that was aimed at migrants living in America. Allow me now to quote his exact remarks. They're going to leave the country because they're going to understand that I will immediately restore and expand the Trump travel ban on entry from terror-plagued countries. If you hate America, if you want to abolish Israel, if you sympathize with jihadists, then we don't want you in our country, we don't want you. They're poisoning the blood of our country. They have poisoned mental institutions and prisons all over the world. That is what Donald Trump is saying. So clearly, the anti-immigration rhetoric is picking pace, not just in Europe, but also in the United States. The days ahead are crucial as America goes to polls and Europe drafts new policies. The anti-immigration rhetoric is also going to pick up pace. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.